you know, I look at the guys I work with in the jail and they say, gee, all this stuff about intimate relationships and zero violence in our, you know, I teach them zero violence in your intimate relationships is a reachable goal. And they go, well, why do we learn that in school? Because there's no room in the curriculum. I hate to tell them. I say, well, there's no room in the curriculum for that. How we get along with each other, citizenship, well, that's out the window. We have some of the best artists you ever met in jail. But like you say, there's no art programs. We don't even have an art program in the jail anymore. They cut that back. You know, there are so many issues. I don't want to miss anything. But the difference between me and the other candidates is that I've worked with families for 35 years in this area, right? I was gone for 5 years to get my doctorate. But I worked with families. I know the struggles. I know that they take these into the schools. I mean, you know, when you bring in kids who are hungry, they want to eat the teacher, right? You know that. We have to take care of these issues. I just came from a meeting and they talked about, what's it, 237, 237 and a half, 230, is it 238? No, 238. These bills that are going to restrict students being suspended from schools. So what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to need some sort of a resource for teachers. It's about support. It's not that you guys don't want to do a good job. I work as a social worker. I get teachers who get attacked at school, and they don't want to go back. And I have to work with them and help them overcome the trauma. They love their children. They love teaching. But they think, what is going on in a school system where I get attacked and I really don't feel the support? They have a couple of teachers who get in touch with them, but they really need more than that. They usually go back to a different school, but they're never satisfied with the way it's handled, the process. So these are the things. I mean, I'm a person who wants to reduce violence in the community. I'm a person who wants to address opiate addictions and substance abuse. I mean, this is what I've been doing my whole career. When we look at what's going on in front of the Senate, these are all the issues they're talking about. These are social work issues. DCF affects you folks. Family violence is the root of so many problems in our society. And it's important to teachers to have someone in the state who has experience with these, who can bring something different to the argument, you know, when the discussion starts. And so I'm really asking for your vote, and I trust you. I mean, I trust teachers. I know that you're going to be honest. I've always had good luck with teachers in terms of honesty. And so, you know, I just hope you'll support me. And you know, as they say, there's so many things to talk about. I wish I could answer all these, but I do have an answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David, and thank you for this session. It was very helpful and informative. You know, the greatest lessons I ever learned weren't in the classroom. They were outside the classroom. And one of those lessons was as a 16-year-old when my school and my community was under assault. We all know the problems of Proposition 2.5. And I put a team together on the ground to protect teacher jobs, 25 of them. Doesn't sound like a lot, and certainly doesn't sound like a lot to the administrators in Boston, but 25 teachers is our music program in Longmeadow, our sports program, our art program at Longmeadow High School. We protected those things because our community came together. And so I want to just touch on another point about that community. There was a common theme in the comments today, and that was that for a long time, all the other problems in society are public safety issues, inequality, which is growing every single year, hunger, poverty, are getting dumped on our schools. And our teachers are the ones who get asked to solve every single problem in our society. And Marguerite, I want to go back to what you said, because I won't forget. I won't forget that. I support and will fight for a constitutional amendment to get a progressive income tax in this state, because we need proper funding. And we need to make sure that those able to bear the burdens in our Commonwealth keep the Commonwealth common. We need to move away from dependence on property taxes for funding our schools. We need to change the funding formulas in our communities. I will fight for that. I will take a holistic approach to education. Because the problems that we're hearing, there's a common theme, which is that our teachers are asked to be police officers. They're asked to be social workers. They're asked to be probation officers. They're asked to be parents. We need to grow our economy, the middle class out. We need to invest in our infrastructure. I'm proposing plans on all of that. I also want to go back to Mr. Harsley, because I know we're running short on time, on higher education. Then higher education is the next housing crisis. Where is this going to end? Student debt is not excusable in bankruptcy. And we are pumping students full of debt and sending them out to an economy where they can't find jobs. Where does this end? It is the next housing crisis. And I'll say the only public official right now who is actively taking this on is Elizabeth Warren. And I'm proud to have stood with Elizabeth Warren from the very beginning of her race for Senate. I worked with her in Washington, and she'll be on the federal level, but we need work on the state level. We need to make public education at UMass public again. Because where does this end? You know, there's a big, powerful economic engine that's influencing this. And the piece is that the banks and the financial institutions have quite an incentive to float these loans to students because it's subsidized by the government. And who gets asked to pay the bill? Students. Students get asked. So I really appreciate having the chance to talk today. If you bring me out, one thing that I noticed also is that there's a lot of frustration with the status quo, and that frustration is justified. If you're totally happy with how things are going on Beacon Hill, I'm probably not your candidate. But if you want to change, I'm offering something different.
I just want to mention one item. I did invite the Republican candidate. I spoke to her again today. I think for very legitimate reasons. She said she wanted to wait until the cream rises to the top, piece of cream we're looking at, and then she would be happy to come back and speak with us. I am going to meet with her in the next couple of weeks. And I also want to talk about what goes on from here, but Tim wants to say something. And since
I'm
he's the
going
host,
to follow
he
up
gets to.
with the invitation that you made that wasn't on it, which is too bad. And you people came here and you heard from the people doing the work. And I have one thing to ask of each and every one of you. Make this an issues-oriented campaign. Do not beat each other up. Because that person who wasn't educated, I don't want to see that person in this seat. And pledge to one another that you'll support whoever comes out of this. Because we need people who are willing to come before a frustrated, angry, my wife always tells me, you gotta calm down. That face turns red and those pain start popping. People aren't hearing what you say. Right? But I think you people hurt. And we need your help. More important than that, these kids need your help. And for all of you, make sure you sign and give us your email addresses. Because the election isn't the most, it's very important. But during the year, when bills are coming, communicating with whoever gets in office and reminding them of what's important is important and does make a difference. A lot of people don't believe that. A lot of us have lost our faith in this government. And then we choose not to participate. If we participate and get others to participate, we can make a difference. So that's my message to you guys.
Personal email, not your school email. Where do we go from here? Well, there's something called the Community Evaluation Team. Did I get that right?
Candidate.
Candidate Evaluation Team. I'm so into the E, I forgot the C. Candidate Evaluation Team. And what happens is MTA sends out a questionnaire to these candidates and to anybody else who's filled out papers. There's, I believe, an independent and Republican who filled out papers. If they fill it out, they get an interview with the candidate evaluation team. If you don't fill it out, then you're off our list. So you want to fill it out. And sometime in June, we will have a date. Now, who's on the candidate evaluation team? Every president of this district, Ludlow, Belchertown, Granby, et cetera, has a vote for themselves, or they get to send somebody. I believe the executive board members of the MTA who live in the district, I get to go and watch. I don't have a vote. And I miss anybody, Joanne?
Board.
And any board member who lives in the district. That goes to a larger group who then decides whether we would, sometimes we back somebody, sometimes we don't. Today, the MTA announced they are not backing the governor per se, they are backing whoever the Democratic primary winner will be. We're at the Attorney General's level, they decided to back Warren Tolman, just to give you an example of how it works. I really appreciate the fact that so many of you came. It's very heartwarming to me and to Bert and to Tim. I was when I was calling on people, I realized how many of you I know, which, I don't know, 2 of you at least are my former students, so that's even nicer. And still young, so that's even nicer. And I really appreciate that you came, and we will be in touch, because you guys are true activists. That's what we need. Thank you.